Next, we're going to talk about the wheels and left-hand controller. Okay, let's dive right in. You'll notice right here in the wheels section, there is a knob marked bend range. Now, even though it's marked bend range, it has a really complex app. Okay, I'm just joking. This is the bend range for the pitch wheel. I currently have it set to 12, which is an entire octave. So if you would like to do an octave, which I often do, that's what you would have it set to. But of course, you can do much less than that. So you have control of that right there, and that's super convenient. I don't know if you know this, but these wheels are metal. These are like the pitch wheel on the PS3100. It's so cool to be able to have something cool and metal that you can grab onto. So that's how the pitch wheel works. You just set the bend range right there. Let's also talk about this mod wheel button. What this does is it directs the mod wheel to a particular destination, which you will then control. The default is matrix. So then whatever you program the mod wheel to control in the matrix, that's what the mod wheel will be controlling. And you have seen that demonstrated over and over and over again in this video series, so I'm not going to demonstrate it. However, if we switch it to cutoff, now the mod wheel is in control of the cutoff of the filters. And it should be noted that once you get away from the matrix setting, the mod wheel will no longer work in the matrix. Here, let's do a demonstration of that just to verify. Let's set the mod wheel to control pitch of oscillator 1. No longer doing it. So yeah, once you have set this to cutoff, it's going to control the cutoff of both filters. Let's hear it in the other filter. And it will behave kind of as a master cutoff if you have both filters going at the same time. So if you want to have the master cutoff effect over here in a left-hand control area, you can either program the master cutoff to be controlled by the mod wheel, or you can just switch it to cutoff. Of course, then the mod wheel doesn't work in the rest of the matrix. But yeah, this is also something you could just do in performance. If you suddenly want a master cutoff, you just punch the mod wheel button and there you go. Okay, and then we have Lfo One Vibrato. Whatever Lfo One is set to will be applied to the oscillators. I believe it's all of the oscillators. Let's see. Oh, that was incredibly quiet. Yep, it's all of the oscillators. So whatever you have it set to. So if in the midst of your performance, you need suddenly to be able to you can direct the Lfo vibrato to the this Lfo vibrato setting to have the mod wheel add the Lfo One's modulation to the frequency of the oscillators, which is simpler than setting up that patch, which is pretty cool. You can also use it to control Lfo One amount. So if you have Lfo One applied to a number of destinations, you can control the amount of Lfo One without setting up a secondary modulation amount control, and it will just control how much LFO comes in. So your mod wheel, you have a couple of seemingly performance-based destinations that you can access immediately in the midst of performance, which is super cool. Otherwise, you certainly can direct the mod wheel anywhere you want in the matrix, and that's very convenient. You'll notice also we have down here the octave control. This is the master octave control. It shifts all three oscillators at once. So certainly you can have them independently tuned, but wow, why don't we take that LFO off? Because that's not irritating at all. Okay. So yeah, wow. Just having a Tron moment there. I just heard that. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, so this is basically performance directed, but you can certainly set any patch to any place on this and then set your individual oscillators frequencies to what you want. You've seen me demonstrate that a million times on a million different things. Okay, so we'll dive into glide. Glide is portamento. They call it glide on this particular synthesizer. There's a number of different applications of that function with different names. So if you want it on, you press on. Decide your amount. It has a pretty generously long time. And of course, in the midst of performance, you can set it to where you like it to be and then just turn it on and off as needed. So that is cool. Then we have the play control functionality, which is a lot of fun. Certainly key hold. When you activate key hold, that key is just going to hold. So you can go through and do whatever you want to the sound, and that key will hold. It's really great for testing things as well. So you have that going for you. You also can decide note priority. It's default set to last, which just means the next note you play will cut off the last one. Or you could set it to low, which traditionally American synthesizers had in the 1970s, where if you play a note above the note that you're playing, nothing will happen. And the lower note plays, the lowest note gets the priority. Opposite, often found in Japanese synthesizers in the 70s, is high. It's just a matter of what you're accustomed to, or if you're emulating a particular synthesizer, you can find out what that synthesizer's priority was and set it to that. Like, for example, the Mini Moog was low note. So I'm somewhat used to that. Okay, and then we have Legato, which when off re-triggers, basically sends a gate to the envelopes and everything every time you play a note. So each time that you hear me play a note, you're hearing it articulate. If I turn on, then if you're holding a note, it won't re-articulate that note, which sounds more like traditional synthesizers, and I mean vintage synthesizers. And if you have something where your envelope is closing the filter, for example, you're going to hear your sound go away as you're playing, as long as you're holding a note. So yeah, this is what frequently happened with synthesizers of the past, where that was just how the triggering of the envelopes worked, and it can certainly be used very expressively. Then we have the super cool setting of glide. I'm going to put it on last for this. If glide is on, then when you hold one note and play another note, it will glide to the second note. But if you just play without connecting the notes, nothing happens. Okay, let's make it a little more distinctive. So that, I love that. I think that's so fun. You get to decide what has glide and what does not, based upon whether you individually articulate the notes. Super fun. And so those are your left-hand controls, with the exception of the macro knobs, which get their own video coming up.